Dan Hardy. You almost sound like an actor, actually, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like Tom Hardy. Do you get that a lot, though?
People often ask me if I'm related to him. Yeah, unfortunately I'm not though. No, he's far more rich and good looking than I am.
It's debatable. But one thing I will say that I've noticed is you've kept the same hair trim that you used to have when you was a fighter. How have you managed to do that?
Well, it's thinner at the back now, obviously, because I used to have the mohawk, so it's a lot longer on top now.
I have the same problem. Yeah.
My issue is it's all going grey now. I've got these big grey streaks.
Grey for you.
Is that right? Yeah. Easier to dye red than grey, I will say that.
So being here today, then being part of this, I know that obviously you're an ex-fighter, and now are you heading up PFL? What's your position at PFL now?
So I'm a head of fighter ops at PFL Europe. So I do all the matchmaking, signings for the PFL Europe events, and then I'm kind of helping oversee the Bellator events and the global events as well. So we have a team. I'm dealing with the European events.
You'll have to forgive my ignorance because you've mentioned there Bellator. Now I was always under the impression that with mixed martial arts you have UFC, Bellator, nobody speaks to anybody, and that's it. And now you've just mentioned PFL, the same as Bellator. Talk to me about that partnership working.
Yeah, well, so I mean, the UFC is still its separate thing. So I used to fight for and work for the UFC. When I left the UFC, I started working for the PFL, the Professional Fighters League, and we've been growing. We've been growing over the last few years. Obviously, Ngannou is the head of Africa, so he's going to be a big deal in that region sometime soon. But we've just acquired Bellator as well. So now Bellator is a part of the PFL. Yeah. So the Professional Fighters League is the PFL Europe, Bellator, and then we're going to have the Middle East League opening up. We've got leagues all over the world opening up very soon. So stay tuned.
The growth of mixed martial arts, then, and we talk about like the conduit now, because we're sort of like getting it connected with boxing, the crossover, the fans that may have originally watched boxing thinking, oh, let's have a look at this mixed martial arts. Obviously you're the head of it, I'm sure you get all your diagrams, your figures and your news. Are you starting to pull in that boxing audience? Oh, us fans, us boxer fans, starting to stalk the MMA guys now?
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a few marquee fighters. Obviously, McGregor.
Yes.
He drew a lot of people over because he was a boxer in mixed martial arts. So I think they're the fighters that really draw the interest of the boxing world. The ones that have got good hands, but they're doing it in a mixed martial arts contest with the little gloves on. I think we're going to see a bit more crossover in the coming years, though. I think we're going to see more MMA fighters crossing over. I think we're going to get some boxers moving back into mixed martial arts.
That is interesting. You mentioned that you've got, I've read an article somewhere, you've got some new signings. Talk to us about that. I know today is about boxing and MMA, but I want to get to know you. I want to get to know what you do.
Sure. Well, I'm working currently on the PFL Europe cards for this year. So we've got a card coming up which is going to be announced very soon. It's almost entirely matched already. And my job is I'm watching all of the events that I can find around Europe. I'm looking for the standout fighters, the next Conor McGregors, right? The special fighters. My job is to bring them into the PFL, put them in a weight class where they've got 8 other people in that weight class, and they're going to fight off over the year to decide who's the European champion for that year. So last year we had 4 weight classes, 8 fighters per weight class, and we crowned 4 European champions in December. And those European champions now can progress on to win world titles. So we're building like a pathway, and the PFL will be the Champions League of mixed martial arts in the years to come.
When you look at projection and you look at the amount of fighters that you've got, how many fighters would you ideally like to have? And what has the growth been? Like you said, the PFL's been around for a minute, but we're really starting to hear about it now. Talk to us about that growth.
Well, I mean, PFL have done lots of very, very clever things in the build. I mean, I joined the PFL when it was still, in full swing. Like, we signed Francis Ngannou when he left the UFC. We signed Jake Paul, he's a part of the PFL. We've got Clarissa Shields on the
Savannah Marshall,
Amanda Serrano. Yeah, we've got some real talented fighters on our roster that are crossing over into mixed martial arts.
What is the carrot? There's got to be a carrot. Why are you getting? Because the penny is dropping.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can be a bit slow sometimes. Mind on boxing. You've just literally woke me up. What's the carrot? Why are you getting these, or how are you getting these boxers to come and sign with you guys?
I think first of all, it's the challenge of trying something different.
Okay, fair enough.
I think it's that. Another thing, and this is my own personal observation, speaking to female fighters, the likes of Savannah and Clarissa and Amanda, like they're seeing female fighters on cards with male fighters getting the same kind of treatment, the same kind of respect, same kind of pay. You know what I mean? So there is like it's almost like we're getting female MMA boxers come over to mixed martial arts to stand on an even playing field with the likes of John Jones and Francis Ngannou. I think that's a big part of it. And then the other thing as well is that, you know, if you're Amanda Serrano and you've beaten everybody, you're Clarissa Shields, you've beaten everybody, what do I do with these skills next, right? Like Savannah Marshall can't wait to kick somebody in the head because it's a new skill that she can try out, you know? And I think when you get the likes of Clarissa Shields moving over, other female boxers are going to start thinking, I might have a go at that myself. We might get Savannah and Clarissa rematching in mixed martial arts. That's very exciting.
It is exciting. And how long do you think something like that would take to do? Like we see all the politics in boxing. You've got them all under the same umbrella. That's half of the job done. But then getting them to sign to fight each other. How long would something like that take to do hypothetically? You're smirking, almost like it's something that's in the works now.
It's almost like it's the job that I do every day, right? Well, obviously, you know, these fighters all want to be active. They're all in training camp. They're all preparing to be active this year. I know Savannah Marshall is going to be fighting mixed martial arts this year. I know that she's in the gym today, most likely, with the UFC heavyweight champ, Tom Aspinall, and that's where she is training. She is learning very, very quickly. I'm hearing lots of good things about her. I think she's going to be a real force in women's mixed martial arts when she crosses over, and we're going to see it this year.
What about Clarissa, or is Clarissa solely focused on the boxing at the moment?
No, I think Clarissa's going to be back in the PFL as well this year. And I mean, her and Savannah were trash talking back and forth in New York a few weeks ago. Yeah, they were faced off at a PFL event because obviously now Savannah's come over. Clarissa's like, you're just following me, etc. I mean, they had good banter, but Clarissa feels like Savannah's chasing her. That's what she feels like. And I think Savannah's making a point of being on her toes as well to make sure that Clarissa feels that pressure. That's a rematch we've got to see in mixed martial arts.
You know what? I couldn't agree with you more, because one thing I did enjoy about the build up in the boxing fight that they did have was the trash talk. Both of them were going at it. Savannah is very, very witty, and I guess sometimes our British humour, sometimes because it's so sarcastic and almost monotone, you can't really tell if we're being sarcastic or not.
Yeah, that's it. And you know, and she's going to be in the right gym up in the north with Aspinall and his whole crew.
Okay.
They're all very witty, very sarcastic individuals, so they're working on her MMA game, but they're working on her trash talk as well.
So talk to me about this fight. We are here, Knockout Chaos. You can see the flyer behind you, March the 8th, back in the Kingdom. Your fighter, Francis Ngannou, been on that journey with him. It almost sounds like I'm lying when I say that he's going up against a former two-time world champion in Anthony Joshua as his second fight, when he previously fought, was on his debut, a world champion. Boxing is evolving, right?
It's wild, isn't it? It
Wild.
is wild. And I think what Ngannou's done is he's allowed people to see that there is some legitimacy in the MMA training that we do.
All right.
You know, I mean, he's a physical specimen, as we all know. He can punch incredibly well. But the thing that surprised me on the night against Fury was his ability to box. Right? His composure. I couldn't believe it. He didn't punch himself out. He didn't look reckless at any point. Like, that for me was a real big statement. And the fact that he's been ranked coming off a loss, I mean, that shows how big his brand is in the boxing world. This is a good marketing technique, this is, right? Because AJ's planning on getting in there and doing what Fury wasn't able to do, and then he puts himself in a really strong position. Makes perfect sense. But we also have to remember that Fury was trying to do that to promote the Usyk fight, and that turned on his head. You can't underestimate this man over my shoulder here. He's a scary, scary individual. He doesn't doubt himself. The people around him don't doubt him. And now he's got 10 rounds of confidence against Tyson Fury. Problems.
That confidence that he walks into this fight, here we go. It's Mr. Hair Snipper, the Gad. Did you see what he did on camera the other day? He did.
You're as bad as all the excuse me, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
You're as bad as all the trolls. No, I've known Michelle a really long time. I went to give her a kiss on the cheek. Didn't realise she was doing a live interview, and ended up kissing the back of her head. Anyway.
You can kiss the back of my head, Gareth. It's all right. I shaved it perfectly for you.
He's wild.
Guys, there was a
Go on.
Have you showered today?
Always.
Okay. No, you know what?
That's a question he asked Dillian White before he went into a fight. He said, have you showered? Just randomly. And
Yeah.
Dillian looked
No,
like
it wasn't
he wanted to kill
random,
him. No, say Dillian it was.
Dan would know about this because Dan knows about history of fight sports as well. Some fighters in the past didn't wash before.
Matt Lindland.
Yeah, exactly.
Matt Lindland.
Because they wanted to smell of their animal.
Yeah.
They sometimes it put other opponents off.
Be unpleasant.
So there was method behind my madness. Sorry to interrupt.
There always is madness in his method, though.
No, that's true. No,
guaranteed.
it was, I'm leaving.
The win. Should Francis get the win, what does this mean? A lot of things, I guess, legacy. What he does next. Because it seems like the Saudis have got this mentality where it's winner stays on.
No.
This is a risky fight, and no one this time can say that, Francis is definitely going to lose.
No one's writing him off this time.
Nope.
But at the same time, the surprise factor's not there, right? Like AJ's
True.
watched that fight. He knows what Ngannou should look like in this first round. Will he look like that is the question, of course. I wonder what Ngannou is going to look like with that confidence coming out of the Fury fight, because I feel like he's going to add a lot to him. I feel like he's going to be a bit more of a bully in this one. I felt like he was a bit more confident on the stage as well. I'm going to look for his chin, I'm going to find his chin. And chatting back to Josh as well, saying, understand fighting, that's about punching people in the face. Like, he's getting a bit wise now, he's getting a bit leery. I think his confidence is on the rise.
And it's not long to find out. Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you. I know you've done several interviews today. Last one standing, but it's been an absolute pleasure. Dan Hardy, October Red.
Until the next time, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
People say I'm toxic, and honestly, I don't care.